Welcome back to the deep dive. It is Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. And, usually when we sit down at these microphones, we have a very specific narrative to tell.
Right.
Maybe it's a corporate collapse, or maybe we're breaking down some new breakthrough in fusion energy. But today I want to do something a little different.
Yeah, we're zooming out a bit today.
Exactly. I want to look at the infrastructure itself, the actual plumbing of the digital world we live in, because for the last 2 years, I think everyone listening, and honestly, both of us right here in this studio, we've all felt this this really subtle tectonic shift in the way the machine works.
It's the vibe shift.
Yes.
And look, I don't mean that in the cool pop culture, skinny jeans are out kind of way. I mean it in the deeply unsettling hair on the back of your neck kind of way.
It's a spooky way.
Completely spooky. It's that sensation when you open your timeline or you scroll through the comments on a news article or even just look at the replies to a viral video and you just get this, I don't know, this creepiness.
Creepiness is the exact right word for it.
It really is. It's the uncanny valley of social interaction. You feel like you're shouting into a void. Or actually worse than that, the thing shouting back at you feels slightly off.
Like the syntax is just a little too perfect or a little too weird.
Exactly. The syntax is weird. The outrage feels entirely manufactured. It's repetitive. It feels like walking through a ghost town where all the lights are on, right? And there's music playing in the stores. But when you look closely at the mannequins in the window, you realize they're the ones moving.
Okay, that is a deeply terrifying image, so thank you for that. But you're hitting on something that is no longer just a feeling. It's not just a vibe anymore.
No, it's not.
For a long time, we just called this being online. We joked about NPCs. We complained about trolls. We told ourselves, oh, it's just the algorithm acting up.
Just people being terrible on the internet, like usual.
Right. But we dug into the stack for today's deep dive, and we aren't here to talk about a feeling anymore. We're here to talk about a hard, infrastructural reality.
We are unpacking the dead internet theory.
We are. And just to be totally clear for everyone listening, because I know that name dead internet theory, it sounds like a creepypasta. It sounds like some fringe conspiracy theory from a message board in 2018.
Well, because it started that way. I mean, I remember reading those exact threads.
Right.
Back around 2016, maybe 2017, there was this conspiracy theory claiming that the internet actually died, that the human era of the web just ended and was quietly replaced by bots and AI to manipulate the population.
The idea was that you were the only real person left online.
Exactly. And back then, it was totally fringe. It was silly. It was the kind of thing you read at 3 in the morning when you couldn't sleep. But today, in 2026, it is not a theory. It is a mathematical certainty.
And that is our mission today. We are going to prove, using the hard data, the peer-reviewed papers, and the cybersecurity dossiers currently spread all over this desk, that the human era of the internet is statistically over.
Over?
We have crossed the threshold, the ecosystem has permanently changed, and we are now the invasive species in our own home.
We have the receipts today. And honestly, looking at this literal pile of paper in front of you, I'm not sure I even want to see them. But we have them.
We do. So let's start with phase 1, the relatable hook, or as I like to call it, why does the internet feel so haunted right now?
Let's get into it.
I want to look at the content layer first, because I think that's where most people initially get that itch that something is wrong. We have data here from NewsGuard.
Right, the AI Tracking Center reports.
Yes, and this data is absolutely wild. So NewsGuard has been tracking what they call UANs. That stands for Unreliable AI-Generated News Sites.
UANs, okay.
Now, when I say fake news, I think you, the listener, probably imagine a very specific thing. You imagine a political blog written by a guy in a basement furiously typing out manifestos.
Right, or a very obvious scam site with flashing banners saying you want to cruise. Or typos in the headline.
Exactly. You expect it to look cheap. But these aren't that.
Not at all.
No. These are sites specifically designed to look like legitimate, established, boring news portals. They have generic, hyper-trustworthy names, things like iBusiness Day, or Ireland Top News, Daily Time Update.
Names that slide right past your mental filters. I mean, you see a link from Daily Time Update in your feed, and your brain just automatically categorizes it as a local paper or some general news source. You don't even pause to question it.
You really don't. That is the social engineering aspect of it. The form creates the authority. But here's the reality check regarding the scale of this problem. Take a guess how many of these sites are confirmed in the database right now.
I mean, I know the number because I read the outline, but if I were guessing cold, maybe a few hundred.
There are over 2,089 of these sites confirmed, 2,089 distinct news portals, and they are operating with zero human oversight.
None. Zero.
They are zombie sites. They are churning out hundreds, sometimes thousands of articles a single day. Politics, tech, lifestyle, sports. Just vomiting content into the ecosystem, and it is entirely written by bots.
And we really need to emphasize that we aren't just talking about bad grammar or weird phrasing anymore. We are talking about genuinely dangerous junk.
Very dangerous.
It's not just noise in the background. It's hallucinatory fiction that is being presented as absolute breaking news fact.
Look at the specific examples we pulled from the report. There was this one case where an AI site took a satirical article, a literal joke, about the Israeli prime minister's psychiatrist committing suicide because he just couldn't handle the job.
Right, it was from a humor column.
It was a joke, a piece of creative writing intended to be funny.
Which a human would understand immediately. You read the headline, you recognize the tone, maybe you know the publication, and you laugh. You know it's not real.
But the AI crawler scraped it. And the AI, despite all its massive processing power, did not understand the concept of satire.
Because machines don't have a sense of humor.
They don't understand irony. The model just treated the text as raw data, parsed the entities, rewrote it as a factual, somber, breaking news story, and published it on one of these fake news portals.
And then it spreads. Because the site looks real, the layout looks professional, and the headline is incredibly sensational. So real people start sharing it.
It spreads like wildfire. Real humans see it and share it out of genuine outrage or shock. Or look at the other example that really got me, the Chinese government-run website.
Oh, the camel story.
The camel story. They used AI-generated text to claim that the United States was operating a quote-unquote bioweapons lab in Kazakhstan.
Right.
And the claim was that this lab was infecting camels to endanger people in China.
Infecting camels.
Camels. And the underlying source for this geopolitical claim was an AI hallucination. It just made it up based on statistical word predictions.
But because it ends up on a site that looks real and is formatted exactly like news, it has a headline, a fake byline, a high-quality stock photo, people accept it.
The form creates the authority, even if the content is pure, uncut nonsense.
And that's just the surface-level creepy. That's the actual content you consume. But I want to peel back the layer and look at the engagement.
In comment sections.
Exactly. Because if the news is fake, surely the people arguing about it in the comments are real.
Right.
Right? I mean, when I see a massive flame war on a social platform, I automatically assume those are flesh and blood people getting angry.
You would hope so. But this brings us to the MAC 13 paper.
Right.
This is a really fascinating academic study regarding the 2024 European elections. Specifically, they were looking at the political landscape in Romania.
And this is a crucial piece of evidence for us today because it gives us a clear snapshot of what they call a hyperactive user, an HAU.
Right. So the researchers analyzed the top political parties in Romania during the heavy campaign window, May and June of 2024. We're talking about the PSD, PNL, AUR, USR parties, and they were running data analysis looking for these HAUs.
Hyperactive users.
The definition of a hyperactive user in this specific study is an account that shares the exact same post 4 or more times.
Which, let's just be honest with ourselves, no normal human being does. Yeah. You might share a post once, maybe twice if you really, really care or want to put it in a specific community group. But sharing the exact same political graphic 4 times to your own feed.
Or 31 times.
31 times. I still can't get over that number.
That was in the raw data. They found individual accounts sharing a single static post 31 times. And the aggregate data from the study is just depressing. For some of these major political posts, up to 45% of all shares were generated by these hyperactive users.
I want the listener to really think about that. Almost half.
Almost half.
So when you are scrolling and you see a political post with 10,000 shares and you think to yourself, wow, the people are really angry about this, or wow, the public really loves this candidate.
You are dead wrong.
You are hallucinating a crowd.
Yeah.
Nearly half of that screaming crowd isn't people. It's a Python script. It's a literal ghost town.
It's a simulation of popularity. And Meta, Facebook's parent company, they have these massive community standards. They explicitly prohibit manipulating public debate. They call it coordinated inauthentic behavior.
Right, they ban people for it.
Supposedly. But the academic study shows it is absolutely rampant. It's not just a few bots slipping through the cracks. It is the load-bearing foundation of the engagement metrics.
So if we put this together, we have fake news sites written by bots.
Mm-hmm.
And we have fake engagement numbers driven by bots. It feels like we're living in a digital Potemkin village.
Everything looks robust and populated from the outside, but you push on the wall and it's just painted cardboard.
And that brings us to the consensus, phase 2.
Let's do it.
Because for a long, long time, we could confidently say, okay, sure, there's a bot problem.
Right.
But we always assumed humans were still the vast majority. We assumed that if you took a massive census of the internet, most of the traffic was you and me, looking at cat videos, checking our email, buying shoes, doing human things.
And that assumption is dead.
It is entirely dead. This is where we need to look at the Imperva Bad Bot Report. I want to get into the heavy machinery of the internet here, and I see you've got the actual physical printout there.
I do. And this is the part where we need to read the receipts.
Read the receipts.
This report is the definitive industry standard annual audit of global internet traffic. And the headline stat from their research, and remember, this is looking at the comprehensive 2025 data context, is that we have officially crossed the tipping point.
Here it comes.
51% of all global internet traffic is now automated.
51%.
51.
So humans are the minority.
We are the minority class on our own network. If you are browsing the web right now, you are statistically outnumbered by machines.
That is staggering.
The breakdown is even more fascinating when you dig into it. Bad bot traffic, this is malicious automation, things designed to scrape, steal, or defraud, has risen to 37% of all internet traffic.
37% is just pure malicious bots.
Good bots, like the Google crawlers that index sites so search engines actually work, those are only about 14%.
Okay.
And human traffic. You, me, and everyone listening, we've dropped to 49%.
I mean, I knew it was bad. We all knew bots were a problem. But seeing it officially at 51%, that's not just a trend, that's a regime change. That is a fundamental shift in the entire ecosystem of human information.
It really is. I'm going to read directly from the executive summary here. It explicitly states, bad bots are a cross-industry, cross-functional problem, sneaking past traditional detection methods.
So what are they actually doing? If they outnumber us, what are they spending all day doing? They aren't just reading fake news articles for fun.
No, they aren't.
Yeah.
They aren't just visiting homepages and clicking around like we do. They aren't walking through the front door anymore. They are crawling through the ventilation shafts.
What do you mean by that?
The report highlights that 44% of advanced bot traffic now targets APIs directly.
Okay, for the listener who might hear that term thrown around but doesn't know the actual mechanics, let's unpack APIs. Why does it matter that bots are attacking them?
API stands for Application Programming Interface. It is the back-end pipe. It's how apps talk to servers behind the scenes.
Give me an example.
Think about when you use an app on your phone to check a flight price. Your app doesn't load the airline's pretty website with the pictures of clouds and the smiling flight attendants.
Right, it doesn't need the visuals.
Exactly. It just sends a tiny, efficient message to the airline server via an API. It just asks for the raw data. How much is flight 202 to London? And the server shoots back a number.
It cuts out the middleman. It's a purely transactional pipeline.
Exactly. So these bad bots are attacking those pipes directly. They are completely bypassing the visual internet that we see to scrape data, steal accounts, and hoard inventory. It is ruthless, invisible efficiency.
And the specific industry impacts listed in the dossier are wild. Look at gaming. 58.7% of traffic to gaming sites is bad bots.
Nearly 60%.
If you're playing a massively multiplayer online game, or any competitive online game, you are literally surrounded. They're farming in-game currency. They're taking over legitimate player accounts to sell them.
And look at the healthcare sector. 31.7% of healthcare trams is bots. That's terrifying.
Those bots aren't farming digital gold swords.
No, they are scraping patient data. They are constantly probing medical portals, looking for vulnerabilities to steal highly sensitive medical records.
And then there's the direct financial drain, the inventory scalpers. The report says 11% of all API attacks are just scalping operations.
Buying up limited edition sneakers or concert tickets or graphics cards before a human finger can even click the mouse.
This is literally the reason you can never get a ticket to a popular show. It's not because you're slow. It's not because there's immense human demand. It's because a machine network hit the ticketing API thousands of times a millisecond after the sale went live.
They exhaust the inventory instantly. And the financial cost of just dealing with this traffic is astronomical. The report mentions a specific case study of a major airline.
Right, I saw this.
This airline was getting absolutely hammered by bots scraping their flight information, probably from third-party travel aggregator sites or direct competitors.
Just checking prices.
Just checking prices. But millions and millions of times a day. It cost that airline $500,000 per month in API server charges just to service the bot requests.
$500,000.
$500,000 a month just to tell a robot how much a ticket costs. For a ticket the robot is never, ever going to buy.
That is the ultimate definition of a parasitic economy. It's extracting massive infrastructure value and giving absolutely nothing back.
Exactly. But it gets worse.
Well, of course it does.
Because so far, we've just talked about bots as these external pests. Things that annoy us, things that steal from us or trick us. But what happens when the bots start affecting the core intelligence of the internet itself?
What happens when the bots start eating the bots?
Exactly. This is phase 3, the deep dive. And this is the part that genuinely keeps me up at night. We're talking about a controversy of model collapse.
Yes. This comes from a landmark academic paper titled The Curse of Recursion. Training on generated data makes models forget.
A collaboration between researchers at Oxford, Cambridge, and Toronto, some of the brightest minds in machine learning.
The Curse of Recursion. I mean, it sounds like a horror movie title.
For AI researchers, it essentially is a horror movie. The premise they explored is simple but devastating. What happens when artificial intelligence runs out of human data?
Because we just established that 51% of the internet is automated. The internet is rapidly filling up with AI-generated sludge.
Right. So the new AI models, the GPT-5s, the GPT-6s, whatever massive models come next, they require unfathomable amounts of data to train on. They have to train on the open internet. But the open internet is now full of content written by GPT-4.
The snake is eating its own tail.
Exactly. The AI starts training on synthetic data generated by other AI models. And the mathematical models in this paper show that something catastrophic happens to the neural network. They call it H-space degradation.
Okay, architect, I'm going to need you to put down the calculator for a second. We're getting deep into the H-space weeds here.
Fair enough.
It's time for the reality check. I need you to translate this math for me and the listener. What does H-space degradation actually look like in the real world?
Okay, let's do the reality check. The best way to visualize this is the photocopy analogy.
The classic analogy. I love this one.
It really works perfectly here. Think of authentic human data as a sharp, crisp, original document. If you take that original document and you put it in a photocopier, the copy that comes out is pretty good.
You can read it perfectly fine.
Right. It's highly functional. That represents the first generation of AI. It trained on human data, and it does a great job mimicking it.
Okay.
Now, take the original document, the human data, and throw it in the trash. Take the copy you just made and put that back in the photocopier.
To make a copy of the copy.
Exactly. What happens, it gets a little grainier, the contrast fades, some of the fine lines disappear.
Right, there's generation loss.
Now do that 10 times. Do it 100 times recursively. A copy of a copy of a copy. What do you have at the end of that process?
You have a black smear on a piece of paper. You have pure noise. You can't read a single word of it anymore.
Precisely. That is model collapse. When an AI model trains recursively on its own synthetic output, the overall variance in the dataset shrinks. The multidimensional probability distributions flatten out. The tails of the distribution completely disappear.
Wait, the tails? You mean like the weird stuff, the outliers?
Yes. In statistics, the tails of a bell curve are the low probability events.
The edge cases.
The rare insights, the unique, highly creative human expressions that aren't just average. A model trained on synthetic data converges aggressively toward the mean. It becomes utterly obsessed with the average. It actually starts to forget that the outliers even exist in reality.
Wow.
The quote from the Oxford paper is chilling. They write, "Probable events are overestimated. Improbable events are underestimated."
So digital inbreeding.
That is the perfect term for it. Digital inbreeding. The gene pool of ideas becomes so incredibly small and so aggressively recycled that the AI actually becomes stupider over time.
It loses the nuance of human creativity.
It generates slop.
Slop. I feel like that is the defining word of the year, isn't it?
It really is. And the paper shows this isn't some theoretical, slow process that takes decades. It happens incredibly fast. Within just a few generations of recursive training learning from the learner, the model's underlying perception of reality is poisoned.
It loses its grip on what's real.
It hallucinates more frequently. It becomes more confident in its answers, but less factually correct.
And this connects directly to what we are all seeing and feeling with Google search right now, which brings us to phase 4, the rabbit hole.
The death of search.
Because model collapse sounds very abstract and academic, but I can't find a recipe for chicken soup that isn't 4,000 words of rambling AI gibberish. And that is a very real, very frustrating daily problem.
It is the complete degradation of the user experience, and it is being entirely driven by what the industry is calling SEO slop.
We mentioned the NewsGuard data earlier, the over 2,000 AI news sites. But it's not just news sites, it's literally everything.
Everything.
It's fake product reviews, it's broken coding tutorials that hallucinate software libraries, it's generic travel blogs ranking the top 10 places to visit in 2026, written by a bot that has never seen a sunset.
It's massive industrial-scale content farms. And we really have to ask the underlying question. Who is paying for this? Why does this infrastructure even exist?
The money trail is both hilarious and deeply depressing. NewsGuard found that 141 major blue-chip brands, we're talking household names, are unknowingly funding these junk sites because their advertising budgets are deployed programmatically.
Right, programmatic advertising.
The brand manager at a major cola company or an automotive manufacturer, they don't sit at a desk and manually choose, I want to place my banner ad on iBusiness Day.
Nobody has time for that.
Right, they give millions of dollars to an ad network. The ad network uses a real-time bidding algorithm to find cheap engagement across the web.
And what has the most engagement? The botnets.
Exactly. The bots create the fake article. The ad algorithm sees the page views and pays to put a brand's ad on it. And here's the absolute kicker. Often, other bots in the same network are the ones clicking the ads to generate the payout.
It's a completely closed loop.
It's the Ouroboros of the internet. The AI writes the article, the algorithm pays for the ad, a bot clicks the ad. The money moves seamlessly from the human corporation to the bot farm operator.
No human ever saw the article. No human ever considered buying the car in the ad.
It's just machines stealing marketing budgets from corporations.
It's a shadow sub-economy entirely divorced from human reality. But the problem is it bleeds into our reality when we try to use the internet to find actual information.
Right, because it clogs up the search results.
And the chatbots. The NewsGuard data also showed that the top 10 large language models, the conversational chatbots that millions of people use for homework or coding or research, they are now repeating false news claims 35% of the time.
35%. That is up from 18% just previously. That is a massive jump in hallucinations.
And do you know why they are getting dumber? Because high-quality news sites, the New York Times, The Guardian, the real publications that employ human reporters, they are blocking the AI crawlers.
They build firewalls to stop the AI from stealing their human data.
Exactly. So the AI crawlers can't read the actual truth anymore. They are locked out of the library.
So the AI is forced to feed on the slop that's left out in the open.
Exactly. It's eating the digital junk food because the healthy food is locked in a vault. So the AI reads iBusiness Day, thinks it's a highly ranked real news source, and then confidently tells a high school student that the prime minister's psychiatrist died.
It's an endless hallucination loop.
It really is.
And this gets us to a much deeper philosophical question. And this taps into the zombie engagement concept from the Cyabra social media studies we looked at earlier.
Right, the bots mimicking engagement.
If 25 to almost half of the chatter online is bots, and those bots are actively tricking the recommendation algorithms,
then we, the real humans, are being farmed.
that's exactly the feeling I get. We are the algorithmically farmed humans.
Think about the actual mechanism of how a viral post works now. You post something, anything. A bot network sees it. They decide, based entirely on their programmed parameters, to boost it.
Maybe the post uses a divisive keyword. Maybe it's highly political.
Right. So the botnet swarms it. They like it, they retweet it, they drop generic inflammatory comments. The platform's algorithm sees this massive, sudden swarm of activity and thinks, wow, this is incredibly popular. Humans must love this content.
So it pushes that post organically into my feed.
And you see it, and you get genuinely angry, or you get really excited, and you drop a passionate, thoughtful comment.
But I'm reacting to outrage that was entirely generated by machines.
Yes, you are literally arguing with a bot script in order to generate page views for an advertiser who is also a bot, or at least paying for bot views.
They're just batteries in the matrix.
The human is just the battery. We provide the organic emotional reaction that makes the entire fraudulent ecosystem look legitimate to the outside world.
And it's not just about influencing our opinions anymore. It's straight up identity theft. The account takeover stats from the Imperva Report ATO attacks, they grew 155%.
That is genuinely the scariest part of the entire dossier for me personally.
Because bots aren't just creating fake accounts with names like user12345 anymore.
No, they are stealing real, established human accounts. They crack your password or buy your session cookie on the dark web, and they log in as you.
So now the bot has your 10-year account history, it has your family photos, it has your unique tone of voice.
They wear like digital skin suits.
That is incredibly dark.
It makes detection almost mathematically impossible. How do you ban a bot when it looks exactly perfectly like a human who has been posting pictures of their dog on the platform for 10 years?
You can't. The platform algorithms can't tell the difference. Or worse, they try to fix it and end up banning the actual human by mistake.
Exactly. The human gets locked out of their own digital life, and the bot keeps posting slop in their name.
Okay, so we have painted a very, very bleak picture today.
We really have.
The internet traffic is 51% robots. The written content is rapidly degrading into synthetic sludge. Social interaction is just a hall of mirrors. And the digital economy is a massive fraud loop.
It sounds hopeless.
Is there any hope? Let's move to phase 5, the synthesis. Because reading through these papers, I think there is actually a silver lining hidden in the Shumailov model collapse paper.
There is. And it brings us back to the core concept of value, the 10% survival rule.
Unpack that rule for me.
The researchers who discovered model collapse, the digital inbreeding problem that destroys AI, they also found a mathematical solution to it, a way to prevent the AI brain from completely turning to mush.
And what is the fix?
A strict data diet. To maintain statistical stability across generations, the AI training data must contain at least 10% purely human-generated data.
10%.
At an absolute minimum. Fresh, authentic, original, messy human data.
So wait, they need us?
They desperately need us. The multi-billion-dollar AI industry collapses without us. Without that 10% of new, weird, completely unpredictable human input, the entire system crashes into noise.
This completely flips the script on the whole AI will replace us narrative.
Completely flips it. Think about the economics of it. In a world of infinite, practically free, perfectly average AI slop, the tails of the distribution, your messy thoughts, your typo-filled tweets, your weird, obscure art, your highly specific, nuanced human expertise, that actually becomes the most scarce and valuable commodity on Earth.
I mean, because it's the only thing the machine can't generate itself.
Exactly. Authentic human thought is the only fuel that keeps the machine running.
So being weird is our superpower.
Being weird is the only thing that has real value anymore. The average is free. The average is entirely automated. But the unique is priceless.
So we are moving toward a world where human verification isn't just about clicking a box that says, I am not a robot to buy a pair of shoes.
No. Human verification is going to become a premium elite status. We are already seeing the early stages of it. Verified human networks.
Right, digital enclaves.
Exclusive enclaves of the internet, where you have to cryptographically prove with biometrics or hardware keys that you have a physical heartbeat just to enter the chat room. The future of the internet isn't about connecting everyone in the world anymore.
It's about proving you are descript.
It's about proving humanity.
That is a wild cultural shift. I mean, we went from the old 90s joke, on the internet, nobody knows you're a dog, to on the internet, you have to definitively prove you're not a dog.
Or at least prove you're not a large language model pretending to be a dog.
Right. So the ultimate takeaway for the listener today is, don't be average, be human. Create things that a predictive machine learning algorithm wouldn't be able to predict.
Because that is literally the only data that matters anymore.
Exactly. The machine feeds entirely on the predictable. It eats the average. If you are unpredictable, you are invisible to the collapse. You are the cure to the collapse.
I love that phrasing. You are the cure.
It's true.
It is.
Well, this has been heavy, but necessary. I think next time I scroll through my feed and see a comment that just makes my blood boil, I'm going to pause.
Take a breath.
Take a breath and ask myself, is this an actual person? Or is this a Python script running on a server in another country trying to farm my adrenaline for ad revenue?
It's arguably the single most important question you can ask yourself in 2026.
It really is. And before we sign off today, I have one final provocative question for you listening at home. Something to really chew on.
Let's hear it.
When was the last time you were sure, and I mean 100% mathematically sure, that the person you were arguing with online actually had a heartbeat?
It's a lot harder to answer than you think.
It really is. And look, if you think the internet dying is a bad time, wait until you hear about what's happening in space.
Oh, no. Please don't do this to me.
I have to. Next week on The Deep Dive, the Kessler Syndrome.
I knew it.
We are going to talk about what happens when the space junk trap finally snaps shut and we are permanently locked on this planet with all of our angry ad-farming robots.
I am absolutely going to need a stiff drink for that deep dive.
You and me both. Until then, everyone stay human.
And don't click the slap.
See you next time.